All right. You hear me? Yep. All right, 5 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I ask Commissioner Stewart, please lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Certainly. Please stand and join us. Lord, again, we thank you for this opportunity to come and serve the citizens of this county. Lord, we just ask that you grant us mercy here tonight and give us grace. And Lord, just grant us wisdom to do the business of the county. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming out tonight. You have several opportunities to join us and participate. We have a citizens to be heard at the beginning, another at the end. You can speak on either one of those, one or the other, and also you can speak on each individual agenda item. Please fill out a speaker card with Ms. Patty for each one, and when you come up, if you'll give us your name and address into the microphone so the folks at home can hear it as well. Any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I have a item requesting board direction on the Lake Ellen boat ramp that I'd like to add to county attorney items.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda is modified.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
No citizens.
No citizens on the first one. All right. No awards and presentation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve consent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. No general business. Public hearings. Item number 9.
Yes, request board approval to conduct a public hearing and approve the purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of property on Old Shell Point Road for right-of-way expansion.
Motion to approve. David, what's the amount we're expending for that?
Hold on, that's what I'm looking for here. $2,000.
$2,000, okay.
David, so the people can understand what we've done, can you tell them what we've done there?
Well, this is where the road had encroached in when it was initially constructed. It was encroached, so we're correcting an encroachment.
How about the stop signs?
The stop signs, we're working on right-of-way right now.
So this is just at almost the full north side of it.
Northeast side, yes.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any citizens?
Second.
Yeah. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. That ends our public hearing. No planning and zoning. No commissioner agenda items. County attorney.
Heather, this is the record.
I'll talk really slowly.
Thanks, Heather.
Anytime. I'm requesting last week we received information from the Department of Environmental Protection that the challenge to the county's permit exemption for the boat ramp that was planned to go at the end of Lake Ellen Drive has been sent to an administrative law judge, which kicks off the formal administrative hearing process.
Why did they do that, Heather? Is that just, they didn't find any sort of merit to do that, did they? Or they just kicked the can down and let a judge decide?
No, the original set of challenges that were submitted to that permit exemption were dismissed by DEP. They did not find them to be legally sufficient. They gave them an opportunity to amend in a time period in which to do that. In response, there was a new challenge filed. This time they have engaged outside counsel, and DEP's general counsel's office found that there was enough legal sufficiency there to send it to an ALJ. So the process now is basically like a trial. There is discovery, including written and potential depositions. There is then a perhaps a little bit more day trial in front of an administrative law judge. The administrative law judge will make certain findings of fact and conclusions of law. It then they submit their recommended order to the DEP secretary. DEP secretary typically will accept factual conclusions unless there's competent substantial evidence to overrule those. But on the legal conclusions, the DEP secretary can take the ALJ's recommendations under advisement. They're not bound by them. They then will issue a final order. I'm bringing this item to you because this can be an expensive process. It's time and document intensive. And since this is a permit and this is one piece of litigation that you guys have control over, I wanted to give you an opportunity to provide some guidance up front on whether you want us to defend. My recommendation is that we do move forward, but that we schedule an attorney-client executive session for immediately preceding your next board meeting. We can talk about that in more confidence, but in the meantime, I would recommend that we continue to defend this until we have that opportunity to discuss it in an executive session.
And I won't be voting on this because I have
This
property in Lake Helen.
pertains to more than, this pertains to more than just access, or does it pertain to just access and location?
It is just the boat ramp. It is we got DEP in December granted our permit exception for that boat ramp, and that has been challenged. So it's the construction of the boat ramp in that location.
So the boat ramp and access go together
Yes.
pretty much?
They do.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion? And for the benefit of the public, we have two commissioners that are recusing themselves of the vote because they have an interest in Lake Ellen.
I move that we direct the county attorney and staff to defend the county's permit exemption in the formal administrative proceeding, and that we, I don't know if we can do this in the same motion, but to set.
You can do them both together.
Set for the next meeting, set a executive attorney-client.
We
I
have
second that.
Okay, motion and a second. We have a few citizens. We'll start out with Mr. Bill. Frank? Thank you, sir. Come on up.
My name's Bill Frank. I live on Lake Ellen on 15 Stanley Drive. I've been there for 45, 50 years. Had the pleasure of fishing that lake, swimming in that lake. My kids did too. Now we have no pleasure at all getting down there. We're supposed to have public access to it on the end. We got it blocked now because of one sign right in the middle. You can't even put a fishing boat in down there. And I can't understand why we can't do it, because that is public property. Do I have any comment about it?
Well, we just made a motion to move forward with defending our decision.
Okay.
We made the decision.
But I would like to have that middle sign taken up, so we can't put a boat in there.
Well, I think that would require a change to an ordinance first, and so, yeah, that's not something we can deal with right now, but that's something that we can certainly discuss.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Why is the sign there?
There's an ordinance that says, it blocks the area and says no swimming.
Oh.
Yeah. Mr. Gerald Fielder.
There's a sign in the middle of it.
First of all, I want to say thank you for moving forward with this. One of my concerns is that, and I don't know how this legal process goes on, but it seems as though there's one side getting all the information and doing all the talking, and the other side not being able to set in on litigation and talk and give, toward this. I have a lot of information that I've gathered, about this. We've seen the illegal plat there where Mr. Jones and his party put this all together back in 1963. I have advertisements of where they advertised to sell those properties down there. And I also have information as to when the two properties on the east side and the west side, this is from Wakulla County, the actual building of these properties, one was 1987 and the other was 1992. I've been here since 1995. I sure can't find any more records, and I think those things were there before I got there. So I got questions in my mind as to building permits, as to permits to put septic tanks in this backfill wetlands. And I've got information as to both of these properties were backfill wetlands. this situation has been going on for a long time, and this is quite a deal that they've been putting together to close it off to the people, you know. And so I want to say again, thank you for moving forward with it, and whatever money you got to spend, I hope it's little, but I hope we, you know, get this thing settled, because it's been going on for years. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
David Damon.
David Damon, Crawfordville. Can we turn the lights down a little bit so we can see the slide here? Okay. So, this is a Shell Point boat ramp, which has worked out great. It's concrete, the concrete seawall, the ramps, the dock, all the stuff you need for a boat ramp where there's a lot of traffic, where there are bigger boats, that kind of thing. This was really expensive. And I'm not clear the direction that you guys are thinking about moving on this, but if the idea is to put a regular concrete boat ramp in, I would urge you to rethink it. I think the idea of having access is real important, and I agree with removing the signs. And if somebody can put a John boat in there, or they can back down there and put another boat in there, I think that's fine. Now, here's another example of a county boat ramp. This is up there by the fence at Wakulla Springs. And it's a real good boat ramp too, but it's a whole different concept. So you've got concrete going down, it stops, and then you've just got the dirt. And so it's perfect for John boats, smaller fishing boats, kayaks, canoes, swimmers. Everybody can kind of share in it. And I would suggest that Lake Ellen's kind of small, and that this would seem appropriate, just a dirt boat ramp, where the road would stay open. And I'd suggest too that if the county could be a better neighbor by making sure there's garbage cans there, maybe lighting, have it closed off, have it open from sunrise to sunset, perhaps. I think there's some things that the neighbors that live nearby would probably appreciate. And this won't cost a fortune, and I don't know that you've got to defend this by spending all the money on the attorney. And this works just perfectly fine on Wakulla River. And Lake Ellen's a very small space. So I would suggest, let's think about this. It works. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That ends our citizens. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
I just want to make sure that people know the estimate for defending this through the process.
It's going to be anywhere from 50 to probably 75, and the construction
Not
cost.
dollars, right?
Huh?
$1,000.
And the construction cost is about 58,000.
And is this ramp that we just saw a picture of, would that cost $58,000?
You gotta get by the attorneys first before you can do that ramp.
Yeah, you can't put any.
There's other
right
options.
now.
I'm glad you guys are going the way you're going. Can't vote on it.
We got to get past, right now, we've requested an exemption to a permit, and we've been approved for that. And what's being contested is to appeal that process. And so we've got to get past that battle. Sir, if you'd like to speak, you can. Just make sure you fill out a speaker card. You fill it out afterwards. Go ahead. Go ahead and speak now and then fill it out.
My name's Ryan McKinney. I live at 68 PA Sanders in South County. You spoke of an ordinance that would have to be voted on. What kind of timely manner can we expect that to be voted on, so that we can at least have the sign removed in the meantime of the
We probably need to, I don't know if everyone's familiar with it, we can certainly discuss it tonight, but we don't have it in front of us, so I'd recommend maybe we have a discussion at the next meeting, find out if we've got consensus of the board to move that forward, and that would be, what, 2-3 month process before that ordinance could be amended?
First thing we got to do is advertise to amend it, right? Did we go ahead and make a motion to advertise to?
To do what? I don't know what your amendment is.
What's it going to mean, just to allow swimming?
to try to change, to get rid of that
We really
sign
need to,
for
we need to
blocking the
read the
access.
ordinance first.
That's fine.
We don't want to be like Washington DC and we pass it and then read it.
And the only reason I said that was not to was just to advertise, but I guess they gotta know exactly what to advertise.
So what I'm getting is where the sign is, was legally supposed to be there to block the access, or if it was to the side and provide the same...
According to the ordinance that is currently in place, boat launching is prohibited north of the old ramp.
Right. So regardless of where the sign is located,
I see that.
it would be...
Because the old ramp was working.
That's right, because the old ramp was working, so it was prohibited, so technically we can't move that. We wish we could. You're right, though, we gotta get the ordinance, according to which way we go, that sign will need to come up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And please fill out a speaker card so we have a record for you. Come on up then.
Define what a boat is.
Come up to the microphone so the folks can hear you at home. I can hear you fine.
You have to come to the mic.
Kathy Frank at 15 Stanley Drive, Lake Crawfordville. Please define what a boat is. I have a kayak. Can I get my kayak in there?
Yes, you can get your kayak in there.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Under the current ordinance, you're saying?
Well, it'll fit.
But I think the ordinance says you can't
Ordinance says
launch from that
no
point.
launching there. No launching according to the ordinance.
We need to fix that.
So we'll fix that.
Well, I mean, if we're moving forward with it.
Throw it in the water,
obviously, we
Captain.
might as
Yeah,
well
we're gonna, that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting to move forward with it all
I
together.
don't think anybody's gonna arrest you for putting a kayak.
Well, that wouldn't make
Yeah.
sure I was
I'm
going
not
to be
voting.
arrested. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Hear none? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. County Attorney, anything further?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No, sir.
Citizens to be heard. Number 2,
Patty?
discussion items from commissioners.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, one thing, I did talk to David about that speed hump on,
Yes, we're taking a look at it.
what's the, Brevity Spears?
Brevity Spears, I
Got a call
talked to
about
Mr.
it.
Mike about that, and
A little severe.
we're gonna be taking care of that.
Pee Wee Voss called me about it.
Yeah, I went and looked at it as well.
Drive over it, Mike.
It'll knock your feelings out.
It's not like the one on Pixie Circle or Friendship
Yeah,
Church. It's
yeah.
Well,
Any alignment?
Who engineered the speed bump?
no, didn't
We're taking care of all that right now. They were supposed to put up one just like on Otter Lake Road, which is the proper speed bump, but it didn't get put up that way. Installed.
One of the wider ones?
Wider ones, yeah.
Why don't we get a typical,
Well, we got a typical, and it wasn't, that typical was not
There's a standard design
transferred
based on
on.
the speed.
okay, so somebody else is gonna be responsible
Yes.
for taking it up and putting the right one down, not us,
Yeah,
not the
we're
county.
gonna get it taken care of, yes.
Okay. That was my point.
Sorry, Chuck.
okay. I got approached by the archaeologist at Wakulla Springs about, they want to bring in some students to do some, the dig there this summer. And they're looking for a campsite so that the students, can have a place to stay for the 2 months they're here. They were interested in the Newport Park because it's close access to Wakulla Springs.
But
And
you're going to bring up Cherokee Sink again.
no. Well, we've got, facilities there at Newport Park, and they can put, their campsites there, and all we have to do is waive the fee. They've got the funding for the students to come and feed them and all that kind of things, but they don't have the funding for housing.
We put them in the hotel.
They don't have the funding for that either.
The lodge there. How many spots do they want to take?
Just 2.
Just 2? And is that thing?
Is that primitive camping spots, or?
Yes, the primitive camping.
Yeah, we
Those-
got that.
Those aren't in high demand or whatever. You want to go, if you don't mind, you want to vote on it, Chuck, or?
If we can get a vote on it, it would,
I don't have a problem with it.
All right. So the motion is to donate 2
camping spots.
For a month.
For 2 months, June, July.
I'll second.
Motion and second.
The primitive camping spots.
Any citizens like to speak on that? It was not an agenda item, but you're welcome to speak on it. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Anything further?
That's it.
And I don't have anything tonight. Jerry? Mike?
Wakulla Aaron Road, the dirt part.
Mm-hmm.
I know the years I've sat up here, we have tried our best to get right away through there, and, I mean, it's a mess. They went today and tried to grade it. I mean, a lot of places, they have to pick the blade up, turn it, drive the grader through and set it down.
We did a
It's an unsafe
survey
road.
last year and tried to get some of the homeowners at the choke point to donate land, and
Right. What can we do, David, short of, is there any other,
We were approached by a young woman that recently bought a bunch of land over
Yes,
there.
and we were, that is willing to sell, so we do have we can buy a chunk
I
of it.
thought
now.
she said she'd give it to us.
Or she'd give it to us.
That's
either one.
Cheryl Olam.
Yeah.
Well-
Cheryl just bought some land in there.
does that resolve?
That resolves some of it,
Some of
and I
it.
think we can get it to where we can get it. It was just as Commissioner Thomas said, it was, interesting to say the least.
I mean, it's a cut-through road,
Yes.
and high-speed traffic going down. I'm not going to accuse any age group, but there's people who drive way too fast down it, and
Yes.
it's dangerous. You can't meet two cars. One's got to
Mm-hmm.
give to the other one, and many times they have to back up. So, I mean, it's just an unsafe road that we own
Yep.
that we need to fix.
Did you offer to pay for the right-of-way? Back when y'all talked to
Yes.
everybody? You actually offered to pay for it, and they still wouldn't even sell it.
Yeah. Well, but let us address it now with a new property owner. That'll make all the difference in the world.
If I can help, tell me.
Okay? Because I got to find out exactly, because there was one big property owner she bought that, then that'll set it free.
That's one of the choke points, too.
That's
where
one
she
of the
bought
choke points, that's right.
Okay.
Right after you come off the
That's right.
pavement.
Right. Okay, that's all I have.
Motion adjourned.
all right, we stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Good,
I
Ralph.
think that's the shortest thing we've ever had.
I don't know if it's the shortest.
I don't know. I think we did like 16 minutes.
About 15 minutes.
For the boat ramp, we'd have been out here in about 5.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't anything there.
And then I need to give you some petitions to take Smith Creek
I can't win for losing with you.
election. But you're